welcome back to the Mum's Night Out podcast. I'm back with another coffee catch up this morning. This week I've got a question for you. Can you do nothing? Now hear me out while it seems like a bit of an odd question, but I was reading a chapter from Rangan Chatterjee's new book, Happy Mind, Happy Life, which is a fantastic book. If you haven't read it, do go check it out. I'll pop a link in the show notes. But there's a chapter in there about how he feels the importance of taking daily holidays from our lives, is what he calls them, like little mini moments where we step away from our lives and just be. Now, if you listen to this podcast much before, or you've read some of my blogs or my lives and reels, then you'll know that I'm a huge advocate for these micro moments. I absolutely love just taking really small pockets of time for ourselves. It don't have to be these huge, great, big time commitments. However, when I read this chapter, I thought, actually, do I ever stop and do absolutely nothing? And I realised that the answer is no. Because when I take my moments, I will listen to a podcast, I will call a friend, I'll send some texts, I'll switch on my meditation app and do a quick meditation. All sorts of different things that I do, which are all great and all valid in just getting a bit of me time. But can we actually just be silent and just be with our own thoughts? And that is actually quite a challenge. And what he writes in his book, which has really hit home to me, that it says, if you are unable to sit in silence with your own thoughts, then your happiness is always going to be dependent on other things. And that just really struck a chord with me, because I just thought, yeah, I really do rely on other things. I rely on a meditation app. I rely on my podcast app. I rely on connection with friends. I rely on doing a workout or breathing or walking or all the different things that I do. None of those are just simply sitting in silence. So with that in mind, today I thought I would give it a go, and I decided, right, I'm just going to sit for 5 minutes, nothing else around me, and see how I get on. And of course what happened was I fell asleep. Now, whilst I'm sure many of you listening can relate to that and think, well, I would also fall asleep if I stopped and did nothing. But when we really think about that, isn't that perhaps a little bit of a warning sign? Realistically, if we can't sit down for 5 minutes in the middle of the day without falling asleep, then perhaps our body is trying to tell us something. And perhaps it really is a warning bell to say that perhaps we need more sleep. Perhaps we need to fuel our body better. Perhaps we need more water. Whatever it may be, but perhaps it's that moment to really look at what it might be for you and why our body is shutting down in that moment. So I am going to try now every day to do a 5 minutes of nothing and really just see if I can build on that and be able to get comfortable with sitting in silence without falling asleep, and just get comfortable with my own thoughts and my own company, I guess. And I'm just going to leave you with a quote from philosopher Blaise Pascal, which is also in this Rangan Chatterjee's book. And the philosopher wrote, "All of humanity's problems stem from the inability to sit quietly in a room alone." And I'll just leave you with that. And I'd love if you would give it a try and see whether you can sit for 5 minutes without your phone, without anything else, and just see how you get on. And please let me know, because I would love to hear what you think and how you found it if you give it a go. So do come over and drop me a message on Instagram. I'm at Mum's Night Out Podcast. And until next week, see you then.